This week's Retail Week is brought to you by Avail, Phosphorus Fertilizer Enhancer. Never stop pushing. Hello again, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj. After a fairly long week for both of us, we both were on the road. I was in South Dakota in Brookings. We're planning a conference called the Precision Ag Accelerator, which is going to be a Precision Ag conference to help sort of relatively new and somewhat experienced precision ag managers through the business of precision ag sorts of issues, from hiring and personnel to really profitability and ROI, and it'd be really a 2.5 day meeting of really nothing but trying to get at the business of how to make a precision ag program within the context of an agronomy program work at the retail level. So we've got a lot of good feedback over the last 2 or 3 months as we've been planning this thing, and so we're looking at the end of June as the dates, and again, it's going to be Brookings, South Dakota. South Dakota State University is going to be helping us out with this thing, and as far as faculty, we'll be bringing in others as well, and it should be an exciting time. So, and of course, Brookings is always a great place. Went to Cubby's, had a great burger. Downtown Brookings is alive and well, and doing very, very well. We had to pass another great burger place, which is unfortunate, but Cubby's was quite strong, and I got to watch the Cavs game.
Yeah, very good.
At least until the South Dakota State game came on, and all the TV switched. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm from Cleveland.
Priorities.
All right. Anyway, so you were traveling to a somewhat warmer place.
Well, a little bit warmer, although we were in Phoenix, Arizona for the Agricultural Retailers Association meeting, Paul, and never really saw the sun. It was pretty cloudy most of the time, although they hadn't had rain in the area for about 90 days, we were told. So it wasn't like it was rain clouds, it was just overcast. But anyhow, the meeting, it was ARA's 25th anniversary as an organization, and they were celebrating with lots of video clips from past presidents and chairmen and lots of comments going around. As you might imagine, Paul, the meeting was pretty well attended. 686 registered attendees at the end, and the organization raised $72,000 with its ARA pack dinner function. At the meeting itself, lots of talk about, of course, dicamba, big topic of conversation. There were not one, not two, but 3 sessions devoted to dicamba in 17 and speculating on 2018. And in the coming weeks, we'll have a couple of clips of folks talking about that. FBN, of course, was on the docket talking about their business model and what that might potentially mean for ag retailers going forward. They did mention that they got $110 million in new financing while at the meeting, so they're planning to invest that in their crop marketing group, but we'll get more into that in the coming weeks. But one of the surprise speakers at the meeting, Paul, last minute addition, was the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. And here's a clip of Sonny talking about what ag retailers mean to agriculture in America and today.
It just doesn't happen. They have to have the resources to do that. And you're that link and that connection with them over helping to get them the right products, the right advice, the right counsel, from a seed, crop protection, from nutrients, and all those kind of things. So I know that you have the ear of the farmers, and today I just want to have a candid conversation with you about some of the benefits and some of the challenges that we have as I see in D.C. So you take them back, and frankly, I also want to develop a relationship with you because farmers and people we serve, our constituency, talks to you. They tell you what's on their mind. Most of the time, farmers aren't very timid. If your customers like mine were, they'll tell you what's on their mind if you ask them. Most of them will tell you what's on their mind if you don't ask them. So we want to hear, because that's really, in the Trump administration, one of the things that I've been most excited about is that this president expects us to get out across the country and talk to real people outside of D.C.
Well, it's good to hear the Secretary talk about the important issues in D.C., and it's great to see the PAC getting a lot of support, because certainly there's a lot of great work being done by ARA up on a hill, and a lot of really important issues that continue to be worked upon and need to be worked on, and that voice is really, really important.
Okay. So we'll be back in a few minutes, well, actually less than a minute, talking about a couple of herbicide issues.
Well done.
We want our farmers to be successful, and if they're spending money to put on phosphate in particular, we like to put a veil with it so that a lot more of that gets into the plant. We know that a majority of it gets tied up in the soil before a plant has a chance to work with it. So we like to put a veil to increase that availability to the crop.
Welcome back. Well, we couldn't possibly do a retail week, could we, without bringing up herbicides and some things that are going on in that front. So
lots of activity there. As I mentioned, Paul, at the ARA meeting, they had one session where there were a couple of attorneys, lawyers, talking about some of the dicamba things going on in the marketplace, and they noted there are now 10 civil lawsuits have been filed regarding dicamba and off-target movement. But one good thing they did mention that at this point, none of the defendants being named in any of these suits are ag retailers. They're all the suppliers, the BASFs, the Monsantos, and the DuPonts of the world. But it's perhaps inevitable that a retailer may get named in a lawsuit. And we found out this week that sort of maybe in anticipation or at least hedging against something like that happening, we found out our friends at MFA have released some new rules for dicamba application work in 2018. Basically, Paul, the gist of it is that they're going to do extensive scouting to know when the soybean is actually coming into its own. And not do any application work after the R1 stage in the state of Missouri in particular. So, like I say, MFA is hedging its bets and trying to protect itself against any potential problems in 2018 when it comes to dicamba.
drones, perhaps?
I'm sorry?
Drones, perhaps?
Perhaps drones. Maybe more technology being used. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll be following up, of course, with those folks as we move into the spring season and see what's going on there.
Interesting. All right.
And one other thing to note, I know we've been talking over a couple of videos regarding glyphosate in the European Union. There was sort of the clock ticking on if it could be used. They had to renew the license on glyphosate by December 15th. And we found out, as we're recording this, which is the beginning of December, that lo and behold, the EU countries have approved a 5-year license extension for glyphosate to be used. One of the surprises is that I guess Germany was for the continuation of glyphosate. The one country that voted against was France. But basically, it looks like the folks, growers over in Europe, will have access to glyphosate for another 5 years.
Very interesting. I don't think I would have predicted that, but there you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's it for this edition of Retail Week, and we will see you next week. Thank you to this week's video sponsor, Avail Phosphorus Fertilizer Enhancer from Verdesian Life Sciences.